What's going on, guys? It's Panjno here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys the ultimate FPS increase guide for Pix Ark. Inside of this video, I'm going to be providing you guys with configs, settings, and the best optimizations, no matter what sort of system you're running on. Whether it be ultra low end, medium end, or high end PCs, there'll be settings and configs in here to fit all of your needs and give you guys the best FPS and performance possible with inside of the game, whilst keeping the game looking very visually pleasing for everyone across the board. And like always with all of my guides, if you guys can go ahead and actually leave a like on this video if you are pleased with the results. If you guys can go ahead and post any of your results down in the comment section down below, along with any questions, queries, or anything else you feel like leaving in there, or just some overall feedback on the video, as it's always fantastic to hear from you guys. And for any of you guys out there who do enjoy this content and you play a lot of other games and you wish to get the best FPS on most games out there, going from titles such as Pix Ark all the way up to titles such as Fortnite, please do subscribe to the channel and press the notification bell to be notified whenever I do upload to the channel. And also I might be uploading updates to the guides that are already out, whether that be for new optimizations, whether there's been updates to the game and the optimizations no longer work. So just to stay up to date with the latest and greatest in optimizations for pretty much all games and hardware out there, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. And following on from that, for any of you guys who are any of my frequent followers, I've also included my Patreon link down below for any of you guys if you wish to further support me there. If you wish to do so, it's not entirely necessary. It's just for you guys here who wish to give a little bit back or you wish to support the channel further to keep me doing this on a more consistent and often basis. With all that said and done out of the way, let's get straight into the video to keep this as fast and as informative as possible. Right, so starting off with the guide, what you guys need to go ahead and do is actually navigate down into the description down below, just like in all of my guides, and go ahead and download the FPS increase pack for Pix Ark. You'll be greeted by two download links down in the description down below, so go ahead and click on either one of them. It doesn't matter which one you click on. If the one you click on doesn't work, then try the other one. Once you guys have got the FPS pack downloaded, you're either going to need a program called WinRaR or 7-zip to be able to open up this FPS increase pack. So just go ahead and Google or navigate down into the description again and you'll find a download link for either of those programs if you don't have either of them installed. Once you guys have got the FPS increase pack on your desktop and you have one of those programs installed, we're going to be going ahead, right click on the FPS increase pack and hitting extract here. Once that's then done, you'll then realize that there is a folder in your desktop now called Pix Ark FPS Increase Pack by Panjno. Go ahead and double click inside of the FPS increase pack, and then when inside of the folder, you will then be greeted with a game files folder, optimizations folder, credits.txt, and launchoptions.txt. With inside of the credits.txt you can find here, you'll find the original download links for any programs or utilities that have been included inside of this guide, so you guys can find the original authors' websites, pay credit over to there if you wish to do so, and find the original download links for any of the programs included. So I do recommend going into the credits.txt and having a look around if you wish to get the latest updates of those programs, and just pay credit over towards the original authors. So getting straight on with the optimizations within inside of this video, we're actually going to be starting off by going into the launchoptions.txt found within inside of the FPS increase pack. So to do this, simply go ahead and double click on the launchoptions.txt and you'll be greeted with a notepad that looks just like this. Now within inside of this notepad, you'll then find the launch commands we're going to be using inside of Steam to boot our game. This might sound a little bit confusing, but it's actually very simple to follow along with. And we're actually going to be setting a unique option within inside of here depending on what our system specs are. This unique option in which we're going to be configuring for our systems is going to be the preferred process account found here. As you can see, a brief explanation of how to do this is given here, but I'm going to be showing you guys how to set this for your system. So to do this, it's very simple and easy to do. Simply navigate to the bottom of your system, right click on your taskbar and go to Task Manager. And then within inside of Task Manager, we're going to be going up to the top to where it says Performance, clicking on Performance, and then clicking on CPU. From the side of here, we're then going to be going all the way down and finding the Cores and Logical Processes tabs found here. And we're actually going to be going ahead and looking at what logical processes is. For me, logical processes is 6, so I have 6 logical processes within inside of my PC. For you guys, this could be anywhere from around about 2 all the way up to around about 24. So whichever this number is for you, again, we're looking at the logical processes number. We're going to be noting down that number now. So for me, my logical processes is 6, so we're going to be going back into the notepad, setting the preferred process account to 6. Or set it to whichever number it was for you guys. Once you guys have got that set, it's then very simple and easy to copy these launch options. Copy all the way from the right hand side, all the way to the left, just like so. Go ahead and then right click, then press copy, minimize out the notepad, go ahead over to Steam, go to Pix Ark within inside of Steam, right click on Pix Ark, go down to Properties. On the side of here, then go to the Set Launch Options tab found here. Then once you guys have clicked that, the Launch Options text box will then open. Simply go ahead, right click in that text box and press Paste. Once you guys have gone ahead and done that, simply go ahead and press OK. And then whilst we're still inside of the properties within inside of Ark, we're going to be setting a couple more options within inside of here. Starting off with the enabling Steam overlay whilst in game. Now for the majority of you guys, you won't be using the Steam overlay whilst in game, and if you don't find yourself often using it, I recommend turning it off, as this will help overall performance regardless of what sort of system you're running on. So if you guys don't find yourself sending Steam messages that often within inside a game, and you also don't use it to join your friend's game, as you can just use the in-game menu for that anyway, I would recommend experimenting around and turning off the Steam overlay. You can turn it back on very easily, you just do the reverse of this step. So to turn it off, simply go ahead and uncheck both of the options found here, and then Steam overlay within inside inside of the game will then be turned off. If you guys later find out that you might want to use the Steam overlay within inside of the game, that's fine, just simply come back to this page and enable the Steam overlay there. But for me, I'm going to be turning this off. And then proceeding on from there, we're then going to be going to the local files tab found here at the top, and then going to browse local files. Now with inside of here, we're then going to be inside of the Pix Ark game files themselves, as we're going to be applying an application fix to the game application to ensure that it's running to the best of its ability. So to do this, it's very simple. Simply go ahead to the shooter game folder inside of here, double click, then go into binaries found here at the top, Win64. Then with inside of here, you'll then notice an application called Pix Ark server, and shootergame_BE. We're going to then be going to the application called Pix Ark, just Pix Ark, right click on that, then go to properties, and with inside of here, go to the compatibility tab found here at the top, and we're actually going to be checking both of these options found here at the bottom, which are override high DPI scaling behavior performed by, checking that, and also disable full screen optimizations. Now for any of you guys out there who don't have either of these options here, or you only have one or the other, or they are slightly differently worded, just follow along with this as closely as you can. If the options aren't there, don't worry, we can just skip this part. But for you guys who do have the options here and you've checked them both, go ahead and press apply, then press OK. And we can then exit out of the game files, and we can then close out of the Steam properties. Following on from those options, we're actually going to be going ahead now and booting into Pix Ark itself, so we can actually go into our in-game options and optimize those. So to do this, we're going to be going into Steam, going to Pix Ark, and pressing play. Now once you guys are inside of Pix Ark, we're actually going to be going ahead and navigating down to the options found here at the bottom, clicking on options, then going into the graphic settings found here, going into graph or graph. And then inside of here, you're then going to be noticing your in-game video options. Now what we're going to be doing is tabbing out of the game, going into the FPS pack provided below, then going into the game files folder, and inside of here, we're then going to be going to the corresponding config in which matches our system specs. This is where you guys have to be somewhat real with yourselves and understand what sort of system it is that you're running on. So whether or not you're thinking that you might be running on an ultra low-end system, low-end system, medium-end system, or high-end system, we're going to be going into the corresponding folder for whichever our system is. So you guys need to sit there, take a look at your PC and wonder what sort of system you might be running on, and then go into the corresponding folder for whichever you decide your system comes under. So for me personally, I'm recording this on my high-end system, so I'm going to be going into the high-end folder. But just to my left, I have my secondary system, which is a low-end system, and that system has the low-end config installed to it. So just go ahead and decide whichever config you're going to be going ahead and installing. As I said, I'm going to be going with the high-end one, so click on the folder for you. Once you guys are inside of the folder, you'll then notice an in-game settings.txt. Now with inside of here, we're going to be going ahead and double-clicking on that. And inside of here, you'll then be given a notepad that looks very similar to this. With inside of here, some of the options might look different for you guys, depending on which config you're going with. And what we're going to be doing is matching our in-game settings with the settings which are listed here. Again, don't just copy the settings which are in this video, go ahead and copy the settings inside of the config you're deciding to match this with, as these settings here on screen right now are for the high-end config. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be dragging this to the right-hand side of my screen, just like so, and I'm going to be going inside of Pix Ark. Inside of here, I'm going to be going back to the graphics settings found here, and I'm going to be setting the windowed mode to windowed and applying that, so I can go ahead and actually easily copy these settings here for you guys and show you on screen. But once you guys are applying these video options, once they're applied, I recommend setting your window mode all the way to full screen, as that will give you the best FPS possible. Only reason I'm sitting in windowed mode at the moment is just so there isn't any issues with recording, and I can show this to you guys much more clearly. So what we're going to be doing is going ahead and matching the settings within inside of the game to the settings inside of the notepad found here on the right. So we're going to be starting off with the resolution. For me on the high-end config, that is 1920 by 1080. So I'm going to the top here and selecting 1920 by 1080. Resolution scale is set to full or 100%, which basically just means that you guys are going to be going ahead and dragging this little ball here all the way to the right hand side to set it to all the way to 100%. If it says something along the lines of 50%, just drag it towards the half. If it says something around about 30%, drag it towards the beginning, just like so. But for the high-end config, this is set all the way to the top, which is 100%. Graphics quality is going to be set to custom. Windowed mode will be set to full screen. View distance is going to be set to medium for me. Anti-aliasing set to low. Post-processing medium, general shadows medium, textures high. So for mesh level of detail, this is another one of those which you're going to be setting to a certain percentage. So go ahead and look at the text document, find out whichever percentage it's set to. So for any of you guys, if it's set to 50%, put it in the middle, 25%, put it towards the start. But for the high-end config, you can go all the way up to around about 75%, or all the way up to 100 if you wish to do so. I'm going to be going with around about 75%, which should be about here. Then we're going to be going to the options found here in the top right and just copying them from the config again and only checking the options in which are checked inside of here. So for me, that is already done. To enable or disable any options in here, you simply go over to the box and click it, or click it again to get rid of the option. Once you guys have then copied all of the settings within inside of your config file in which you're copying and they're matching with the game file settings, simply go ahead and press the apply button. Now, proceeding on from there, we're actually going to be applying some optimizations to the operating system itself, just to ensure that we're getting the best FPS possible, not just with inside of Pix Ark, but pretty much every single game we play on our system, and just to speed up our overall system and ensure it's running to the best of its ability. These are very fast and easy to apply optimizations, and they are very lightweight as well. So starting off with this, we're going to be going ahead and doing some audio optimizations to our PC. So to do this, simply go ahead to the bottom right hand side, right click on the little speaker icon in the bottom right. Then we're going to be going to Playback Devices. Then on the side of here, we're then going to be going to our playback device and finding whichever we're using to listen to this video. This might be your speakers, it might be a different sound output, but look for the sound output with the green tick next to it. Then what we're going to be doing is going ahead and right clicking on that sound output, going to Properties. Then on the side of here, we're then going to be going to the Enhancements tab. Now, before we apply any of the fixes within inside of here, once you guys actually apply the fixes I'm about to tell you, the sound on your PC or this video might actually cut out. And if it does, don't panic. All you guys simply need to go ahead and do is close out of whichever web browser you're using, open the web browser back up and come back to the video. The reason this might cut out your audio if you're listening to this video at the same time is just that you're changing some sound settings within inside of Windows, and sometimes it can cause a little bug. So all you guys have to simply do is just go ahead and restart any programs you have open. With that said and done out the way, what we're going to be doing is going to the Enhancements tab, going to disable all sound effects and checking that. Once that's then checked, we're then going to be going ahead to the Advanced tab found here at the top, then going into Default Format, going into the drop-down menu, scrolling all the way up until we find 16-bit 44,100 Hz CD quality, checking that, then going ahead and then pressing apply, and then pressing OK, and OK. Proceeding on from that step, we're then going to be unparking our CPU to ensure that it has the most resources possible at 100% of the speed as and if your game needs it. This is one of the best optimizations you can apply to your system if you guys experience FPS stuttering, not just with inside of Pix Ark, but pretty much most of the games you play. A basic explanation as to what this program and utility actually allows your system to do is that when the game application or the game you're playing becomes really demanding and your FPS might actually drop a lot as there is a lot of things happening on the screen, the majority of the time Windows is actually using some of your CPU processing power just stored as backup for other applications running in the background. And what unparking your CPU will then allow Windows to do is use 100% of your CPU power for any application as and when it needs it. This pretty much just goes ahead and smooths out anything within inside of your system which you're doing, especially for those high demanding games or tasks. So I highly recommend doing this. So to do it, simply go ahead to the FPS increase pack again, double click, go into the optimizations folder again, then inside of here we're then going to be going to the CPU core parking 3.rar, double clicking, then inside of here we're then going to be going to the CPU core parking setup found here, double clicking again. You'll then notice that the CPU core parking setup wizard will then open. Then once the setup opens, simply go ahead and follow the on-screen wizard by pressing next, accept the terms to the license agreement and press next, install it to the default location by pressing next again, and then press install. Once it's then installed, simply go ahead and make sure launch CPU core parking 3.exe has then been selected, and then go ahead and press finish. Then once the application has gone ahead and loaded and actually opened up, you'll be greeted with a screen that looks very similar to this, but your settings within inside of here will look different. So what we're going to be doing is going ahead to our power data plan option found here at the top left hand side, going to the drop down menu and now selecting high performance, as that is the power plan we're now running on. On the side of here, we're then going to be going to the bottom left to core parking index. We're going to be dragging this blue slider here and dragging it all the way up to 100%. This basically allows Windows to then have 100% access to 100% of your CPU cores. We're then going to be going to the right hand side and going to frequency scaling index and doing the same thing by going up to 100%. And this option here allows Windows to have 100% access to the speed of each of your CPU cores. So having both of these coupled to 100% allows Windows to use 100% of your CPU cores at 100% of their speed as and when the applications might need it. This will not mean that your CPU is running at 100% load all the time. It just means that Windows can use 100% of it as and when it needs it, and it doesn't have any reserved. This might sound a little bit confusing, but it basically just removes limitations within inside of Windows, which could be slowing down your games. So once you guys have got those three options set, you can then go ahead and press apply, and then press OK, and we can then close out of CPU core parking. Proceeding on from there, what I then like to do is go ahead and perform some basic system maintenance to free up any excess hard drive or SSD space, which is being taken up by caching files, temporary files, and just excess rubbish which is sat inside of our systems. So to do this, simply go ahead to the bottom left hand side, type in %appdata%, just like so, and then press enter. Then within inside of here, go to the app data folder found here at the top, then go to local, scroll all the way down until you find a folder called temp or temp. Double click inside of temp, and what we're then going to be doing inside of this folder, we're going to be highlighting every folder and file within inside of here, right clicking and pressing delete. Once you guys have gone ahead and deleted everything within inside of there, it might notify you that the action cannot be completed for all folders and files. Simply go ahead and press skip to that option if it does come up. And then once that's done, you'll then be left with a couple of folders and files inside of here, or nothing at all. Now, if anything is remaining inside of here, this is the only stuff which is actually being used by your PC. Everything else you just deleted was an excess caching file, dump file, or just excess waste that has been sat inside of your system for who knows how long, depending on your Windows install. Now, it's usually at this point in my videos, if you guys can go into the comments down below and actually let me know how much you managed to remove from this folder, as some of the numbers are absolutely insane. I think the most I ever saw was around about 120 gigabytes have been freed from this folder just by going in and deleting them and clearing out your system, just by clearing out this one folder. That is absolutely crazy, and the amount of hard drive space or SSD space you can free up by doing this is absolutely phenomenal. By freeing up this space, you're then freeing up space within inside of your hard drive or SSD, which will then allow it to run at a higher speed and more efficiently. So once you guys are done inside of there, go ahead and exit out. And then following on from there, we're then going to be installing a system utility program, which is very, very good at going ahead and actually finalizing our system maintenance and just ensuring that your PC is running to the best of its ability. So we're going to be going into the FPS pack provided once again, going into the optimizations folder once again, and going into the CC setup 541. This is actually the setup utility for a program called Ccleaner. Now, a lot of you watching this video are probably already familiar with the program, but I recommend installing the latest updates to it. And if you guys are not familiar with the program, I'm going to be showing you guys how to use it properly now. Go ahead and press install, and then go ahead and check Run Cleaner. So once Ccleaner has then opened up, you'll then be given a brief description of your system specs found here at the top. You'll be given the option for Cleaner, Registry, Tools, Options, and Upgrade here on the left-hand side. So starting off with inside of here, we're going to be going to the Cleaner option found here at the left, then clicking Analyze. Once the analysis is then complete, it will then notify you how long the analysis took. It could take a little while depending on your system and whether or not you've run this before. For me, the analysis took a minute. It'll also give you a brief description as to what it's gone ahead and analysed and what it can actually remove from your system and where it's removing it from. Now, for any of you Google Chrome users who like to have any passwords saved or anything like that, I would like to go to the Applications tab found at the top and actually go ahead and uncheck all of the Google Chrome options just by simply clicking on them just like so. Now, once you guys are then done inside of there tweaking that if you wish to do so, we're going to be going to the bottom right hand side and clicking Run Cleaner. Then press continue. Then once the clean is complete, it will then notify that cleaning has been completed. It will give you a rundown as to how long it took to clean your system. It will go ahead and show you how much junk it removed and how many files it went ahead and actually optimized and removed for you guys. Now, once you guys are done inside of there, there is a very useful thing at the top here, which is actually showing you what your system specs are. The system specs we're actually really interested in looking at for the next step in this guide is actually what our GPU is. So for me, my GPU is an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1070 Ti. Again, this is my high-end system. I do have a low-end system next to me, which has a lot lower end of a graphics card. Now, I want you guys to go ahead and actually pay attention. This might say AMD Radeon for you guys there as well. So whether or not it says AMD Radeon or NVIDIA GeForce, I want you guys to go into the description down below and click on the corresponding link for whichever GPU you guys are running, whether it's an NVIDIA GeForce GPU or an AMD Radeon GPU. And at this point, you can then go ahead and actually close out of Ccleaner. Then once you guys have actually gone ahead and clicked on the corresponding link for the GPU you're running, we're going to be going ahead and installing the latest GPU drivers. For you NVIDIA guys, it's very simple. Simply go to the link provided, go to the Automatic Driver Updates tab found here at the top, click download, install the program given to you guys, follow the wizard, it'll go ahead and detect your GPU for you and install the latest GPU driver. For you AMD Radeon users, it's a very similar process. Click on the corresponding link in the description down below, scroll down to the automatically detect and install your driver tab, hit download now, again install the program, follow along with the wizard inside of there, and it'll go ahead and detect and install the latest GPU driver for you guys. Now, if you guys haven't actually updated your GPU drivers before manually, or you haven't done it in a while, I highly recommend that you guys go ahead and actually follow along with that step, as it is vital, especially if you're playing modern and up-to-date newly released games, as there are so many optimizations within inside of those GPU drivers, it can nearly fix all of your problems alone and give you guys a hefty FPS increase. Now, once you guys have actually gone ahead and installed your latest GPU driver, I'm also going to be including a link in the description and a card on the screen now for my GPU overclocking guide. This is a newly released guide from around about late last year, and it's quickly become one of the most viewed and liked overclocking guides within inside of YouTube. It's extremely easy to follow, it's extremely safe as well, and you guys should be seeing phenomenal results within inside of there. It shocks me how many people don't overclock their GPUs, especially for people running on sort of lower end or older hardware. There is often around about a 10 to 15, all the way up to around about a 35% increase to FPS within inside of all of your games sitting at your fingertips in which you are not actually utilizing. It takes around about 20 minutes or half an hour or so, but there is time well spent, and I highly recommend you guys go ahead and check out that video. Now at this point in the video, we are now done optimizing our systems, installing everything, and we're then good to go ahead and restart our PCs, so everything is then applied, sign back into your PC, open up Steam, and we're then good to continue on with this guide. Welcome back to the video, guys. You should have now restarted your PC, opened up Steam, and be good to continue on with the video for the last step. The last step inside of this video is actually going into the FPS pack provided once again, going into the optimizations tab, and then going ahead and finding the time resolution application found here, dragging that onto your desktop, and then once it's inside of your desktop, I'm going to be showing you guys how to use it. Now, for a brief explanation as to what this program does for any of you guys who are wondering, this basically lowers the amount of latency between your operating system, the game application itself, and the hardware within inside of your system. Basically giving you guys the best overall latency, giving you guys the lowest amount of input lag possible, decreasing any FPS stuttering you might be having, and can also increase the amount of FPS you are experiencing. It's a very, very good program, and I use it for pretty much every game out there, and it's very extremely lightweight to use. So to use it, once it's on your desktop, it's very simple. Go ahead and double click on the program. Then on the side of here, we're then going to be going to the bottom left and clicking maximum. And what you guys can go ahead and do is boot up your game, play it for however long you wish to do so. Once you're then done playing your game, go ahead and press default. And then you guys can go ahead and exit out of the program. So assuming that we're actually booting into Pix Ark, what we're going to be doing is going into time resolution first, clicking maximum. We can then minimize it so it's running in the background, going ahead and going over to Steam, making sure that we close out of Google Chrome and any other programs or anything we don't actually need running. If you guys are using Discord and Spotify, that's okay, but just go ahead and close out of anything you know you're not going to be using whilst playing, as Pix Ark does experience some FPS drops if you guys are running programs in the background. Then all there is left to do, guys, is simply go ahead to Pix Ark inside of Steam, go ahead and press the play button. And there you guys have it. There's my ultimate FPS increase guide for the newly released Pix Ark inside of Steam. Again, guys, make sure that you subscribe to the channel to be updated with any updates that might be coming out for this game, or any other FPS guides that I have coming out for newly released titles or older titles as well. Feel free to leave any suggestions, questions, or queries down in that comment section below, as it is always fantastic to hear from you guys, or any feedback or any results, as they are always deeply appreciated. If you guys are happy with the results of this video and you did enjoy watching, please do press that like button, as it helps me out tremendously. And for any of you guys who are looking to further support the channel, who follow my content more frequently, my Patreon link is down in that description down below for any of you guys who wish to further support me. Again, it's not necessary, it's just an option for you guys who follow my content frequently and wish to further support me in allowing me to be able to do this on a more frequent basis. And again, guys, I must stress that pretty much every single person watching this should go ahead and watch that GPU overclocking guide. Link in the description and card on the screen again now, and will also be a card on the screen at the end of this video. As with inside of any single game you're playing, you could be seeing FPS increases from around about 10% all the way up to around about 35%, just by simply taking around about 10 to 30 minutes just to go ahead and optimize your GPU, as once you guys have gone ahead and done it, it's done forever. So with that being said and done, thank you very much for watching this video, guys. I have been Panjno, and I am out.